All right, here we are, starting right at the beginning with Prometheus for an unwanted horror opinion. And hey, it's on YouTube, so you get to listen to me ramble longer now. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I know what I'm going to say, or at least an idea. We'll find out. So, if any of you have been following me on TikTok for over a year now, over a year ago, I started Unwanted Horror Movie Opinions on TikTok, and this is back when I could only do 1 minute rambling videos on my very unwanted opinions on these movies. Now, I did recently rewatch Prometheus just so it was fresh in my mind. I could take notes, I would know what I was going to say, so it's a little more structured this time. But upon rewatching it, so if anybody knows me, I've always appreciated Prometheus as a sci-fi thriller, but I hated it as a part of the Alien franchise. Now, after rewatching it and really watching it closely, I came to the realization that Prometheus is just an homage to Alien. I always seem to forget that after the original Alien, Ridley Scott had nothing to do with the rest of the movies. I've always known he had nothing to do with 3, 4, AVP, and we don't talk about Requiem, let's face it. But for some reason, I always had it in my head that he had something to do with aliens. But I digress. So, just some of the pieces that I noticed as an homage to Alien from Prometheus is even little details, like when the crew is woken up and brought out of cryostasis and you see them getting to know each other, having breakfast, and we get more in depth on what it's like to come out of that cryostasis, which is really cool in my opinion. And not to mention the bigger pieces. Now let's talk about Elizabeth Shaw for a second. She is exactly like Ripley. She's level-headed, she's very strong-willed, she's just overall a badass, tough lead female. And final girl. Yeah, I'm gonna say final girl even though, David survives, but we'll talk about that later. And even, just her acting. I cannot recall the actress's name off the top of my head. It'll come to me later, don't worry. But Elizabeth Shaw, just how she was portrayed as a character and just being so strong, especially when she had a major abdominal surgery. And then she's got staples in her stomach. And she's doing this without anesthesia just to get this alien out of her. Oh, I guess I should have said at the beginning of this video, there's gonna be spoilers in these unwanted opinions. If this movie is at least a year, 6 months to a year old plus, and you haven't seen it, do not come for me about spoilers. Because I'm sorry. This came out in 2012. You've had 10 years to watch this. Just saying. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Elizabeth Shaw, major abdominal surgery. Now, I have had a major abdominal surgery, and how that was portrayed, just from everything to getting into the spacesuit, I cringe now when she does up that spacesuit. And then even when she's running away from these creators, and it's just pure adrenaline at this point. She doesn't care. She just had her stomach gripped into, maybe an hour or two before that, and that she's got staples in there. She's running. She's gone. She is just noping right the fuck out. And I admire her as a female character. I really do. A character in general, the heroine of a movie. And not only that, the only other homage I can really think of. Now, the part that always irked me about Prometheus before this rewatch was that few seconds at the end, 4 to 10 seconds where we actually get to see a xenomorph, or at least early evolutions of a xenomorph. I hated it at first because I always thought it was oh right, this is supposed to be an alien movie, this is supposed to be part of the franchise, so we're just gonna throw that in there. But then really thinking about it, in the original 1979 version, not the director's cut, the original movie, I think the xenomorph in that movie only has like a few minutes of screen time. A few minutes might even be a stretch. Like, you barely see the creature, and that's what gets you in the original Alien movie, and I will talk about that on my Unwanted piece for this. And the sheer amount of talent in this movie. We have Charlize Theron, and she plays such a wicked villainized character. We have Idris Elba, just on his own. It's just, I love him as an actor. I really do. He definitely rocks any part he can play. And Michael Fassbender, like, I wouldn't exactly call him a villain in this movie. Like, we've seen him as Magneto. We've seen him as the villain. But in this, he's more conniving. And definitely sticks with the stereotype in the Alien movies of you just don't trust artificial intelligence. You don't trust it at all. But again, for the first time in my movie watching history, like, yes, as you can see, I own the movie on Blu-ray. I've always been a big fan of the Alien franchise, so of course I had to pick up a copy so I could have all the movies. Now, again, I hated this movie for so many years, but watching it that closely and even talking to a good friend of mine about how this is just a complete homage. This is what Ridley Scott wanted to do, and just how he wanted to take on Alien after Alien but didn't do it. And yeah, honestly, this movie was at the bottom of my ranks for the entire franchise. Like, this was the bottom for me. I hated it, and Resurrection is a very close second, but this is definitely bumped up a few movies in my opinion. It's just very well done. Visually, it's phenomenal. Again, the sheer acting talent in this movie is beautifully done. You find a little bit of Easter eggs. Yes, there's a lot of plot holes. One that really bothers me is when the two scientists get scared off and run away in the cave. Why didn't they just, like, they're lost in this cave. Why on earth did they not just use all this high-tech equipment to scan through the bloody cave to get out? That. Right there. That is what bugs me. Now, I can only ramble for so long. Yes, I can do these videos for longer. I can ramble about more things. Especially if I really hate a movie, because I will be able to go on for days on something like that. But overall, I have found a new love. It's not too high on my ranks, but it's definitely bumped up. And please let me know what you all think of Prometheus, as I ask in all my previous TikTok videos. I love hearing people's opinions on this. I figure if I'm putting out videos of all my unwanted opinions, least I could do is listen to yours too. So let me know, and thanks for watching.